Hi, I'm Candice Malcolm, and this is the Candice Malcolm Show. Today is Friday, March 20th, 2026. We have a great episode for you today. We're going to return to doing Fake News Friday because I saw this one story being pushed by global news, and I had to dive into it because this is pure fake news. This is how the activist media are destroying our country, are pushing far left ridiculous ideas, not just the idea that you can't talk about trans issues, you can't make jokes about politicians, you can't talk about immigration. They always try to push that kind of thing to try to say anyone talking about those kind of things is beyond the pale, is racist, homophobic, et cetera, et cetera. But they also use this bullying tactic. It's totalitarian to try to shut down free speech, to say if you're talking about the wrong thing, if you cross the line, you will be canceled, you will not be able to have a platform, you will not be welcome in polite society. And this is what they do. They act as gatekeepers and bullies, trying to basically just bully people into submission so they don't talk about these things. And so this is what I'm talking about. Comedian Ben Bankas. Ben Bankas is hilarious, okay? I've been following this guy for years and years. And yes, his comedy is a little bit risky, right? It's very funny. He makes fun of everybody, literally everyone. I think the thing that I saw that really caught my eye was he'd do these hilarious videos where he'd make fun of Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. Well-deserved. The worst mayor that Toronto has ever had. One of the worst mayors probably in the history of ever in the entire world. Just a pure embarrassment. He would make fun of her. And yes, he would use what you might consider like a racist accent to describe her. He does the same thing with Doug Ford. If you ever see a Doug Ford impersonation, it's the same thing, right? He's funny at accents. He makes fun of people. That's his thing. He's funny. Okay, so this is what Global News BC puts out. Canadian comedian Ben Bankas is pushing ahead with his planned Kelowna, BC stop despite growing calls to cancel his show. They post this on social media and it just absolutely got ripped to shreds because people are tired of this. People don't like this routine where you say, oh, that person's bad, so we're going to pretend that there's this huge crowd of Canadians that just can't handle him and hate him, and we're going to get him canceled. They did the same thing to Sean Feucht. We covered Sean Feucht, the Christian prayer leader and Christian singer who tried to do a Canadian tour. Then the media decided that he was MAGA and right-wing and did everything they could to have his tours stop. Many of them were. They successfully canceled many of his tour stops by using this tactic. Well, now they're trying to do it to Ben Bankas, and I think it's backfiring. I think that finally the country has had enough of this. Okay, so I will just give you a quick taste of what a fake news story looks like from start to finish. This has all the elements of fake news. So we're going to roll this global BC news report about how terrible Ben Bankas is and how he has to be canceled. Let's roll that clip.
March 19th, I'm coming.
Donning a Kelowna Rockets jersey, Canadian comedian Ben Bankas is shrugging off calls to cancel his Kelowna show.
Can't stop me. Can't stop me.
The Toronto-born comic, now based in Austin, Texas, has built a reputation on controversy.
Just got back from Winnipeg. They have it's like a indigenous zombie apocalypse. So
if you just stop it right here for a second. I just want to jump in. So the way that they frame it, they show him, they're trying to demonize him. Oh, look at this guy. He's flying on a jet or whatever. He's wearing a Kelowna Rockets jersey as if somehow he's a bad guy with the ominous music playing and describing him as controversial, pointing out, oh, he used to be from Toronto, but he lives in Austin. He's a bad guy. He's an American, whatever. Like everything about the way they frame this piece is just typical fake news, the kind of stuff that we all cringe over. They find a clip from a show, which is pretty funny to describe Winnipeg that way. I don't know. I haven't been to Winnipeg recently, but it checks. It sounds right. Sounds like unfortunately, a lot of big cities in the prairies these days. But anyway, the way that they describe it is just ridiculous. Okay, and now we go to this activist, this authoritarian bully who is trying to have someone canceled. Guess what? If you don't want to go to a comedy show, don't go to it. Right? But why are you trying to stop someone from their right to free speech? Why are you trying to stop other people from being able to enjoy an evening out? It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go to this activist that Global News is highlighting.
Look up any of the clips on YouTube. It only takes a second for him to get into either trashing immigrants, Indigenous people, women, trans folks, queer folk.
His "I said what I said" tour already facing backlash. The Port Theatre in Nanaimo canceling his show, saying the society is committed to upholding freedom of expression within the bounds of the law. Multiple shows in Minnesota also canceled after jokes he made about a 37-year-old mother killed by an ICE agent earlier this year.
Yeah, her last name was good. That's what I said after they shot her in the face.
To make light of a death of a human, an innocent human, that's not comedy.
Okay, just pause it there. Okay, again, the pearl clutching, right? Jokes. If something's funny, it's because usually it's hitting the nerve of something that you're not supposed to talk about in society, right? And this idea that somehow, like this activist in Minnesota who tried to run over a police officer who actively got in the way of a law enforcement, an ongoing operation. Like, don't do that, guys. Don't get in the way of law enforcement when they're trying to arrest bad guys. He makes a joke about that, and the pearl clutching from this activist, like, oh my gosh, how could he possibly make a joke about something like that? It's just, save it. It's ridiculous. Okay, roll the clip.
Calling for Prospera Place to pull the plug on Thursday's show.
Especially for a public venue where we get most of our entertainment from, I think our entire community needs to feel comfortable and safe there. And I'm
okay. That's enough from this global clip. You get the gist, right? They go to the venue, they try to pressure them. This is a public venue. How dare they have someone that I don't like being hosted? You know, imagine to this lady, right? You're a left-wing activist. The culture's on your side. You're just used to what? Calling up global news, like, hey, I'm going to drum up, I'm going to get this guy canceled, pointing out a couple of others. Imagine how conservatives feel, right? Like, almost everything in the culture I disagree with. I don't go around trying to shut everybody down and saying, if you don't agree with me, you can't have a comedy show, you can't have a TV show, you can't have a radio show. We don't do that over on our side. But that is what the left does. That's what they're accustomed to. And I think it makes them mad that someone like Ben Bankas has enough cultural power now where, you know what? The venue is not going to cancel his event. Why? Because they probably sold thousands of tickets, thousands. They're probably making hundreds of thousands of dollars off this guy. So like 7 people from the Pride Brigade call him up and say, oh, I'm so offended. I don't like this. They don't care. They don't care because they're going to make money. And the culture has shifted. And that's why people like the neck tattoo lady, she's lost her power. She can't use this tactics that worked over the last 10 years. The culture is finally changing. And it's good to see. And interestingly, Ben Bankas, he's actually a pretty smart guy. And his critiques, he has some jokes that I wouldn't repeat on this show. But he's actually pointed in his criticisms. He was recently on the Trigonometry podcast. You might remember that one because we covered it. Pierre Poilievre was on it as well. It's a very popular podcast in the UK where they just interview intelligent people and they talk about these kinds of things, about the woke mob and the woke excesses, the excesses of the far left. I want to just play you a little clip because he talks about this very phenomenon of people trying to get him canceled. Let's roll that clip.
This whole idea that you don't feel safe because somebody's making jokes is so dangerous for society. Some guy was trying to get people to call the police during the show to have me arrested for hate speech. One of my audience members told me that her union, teachers union, sent her an email saying not to attend my show. Imagine an email going out to a company or an organization saying, please do not attend this drag time story hour. Improving your own life will do more for the country than marching around with a sign trying to get a comedy show canceled. Be successful, start a business.
Clean your room.
Clean your room. And I sound like a parent, but the right needs to parent the left.
Your universities are incredibly prestigious. You've got literally everything.
They've all been infiltrated. All the universities are infiltrated by China. We need to make the gay people in charge of the country and then fill the country with mushrooms.
I got such a kick out of this guy. He's completely right. They try to shut things down. It's all being manipulated. Good for Ben Bankas. I'm glad to see that he is withstanding the woke mob, that the fake news media can't take him down. This global news report got absolutely roasted online as it deserved. And I think more people will go see Ben Bankas because of these efforts. We've seen in the past the CBC trying to do the same thing. Why outrage comedy sells. They had a hit piece against Ben Bankas a couple of months ago, back in February last month. They also had this one trying to get his Kitchener show canceled. This is just so pathetic. Okay, guys, let's be real. Crime is up. Repeat offenders are released on bail. Police responses are slower than ever. And in many places, law-abiding citizens are expected to just hope nothing bad happens. That's not good enough. And that's why I'm very pleased today to be telling you about Berna. And I'm so pleased to have this partnership with Juno News because I actually own one myself. I bought one before we ever had this deal with Berna. So what is Berna? It is a non-lethal self-defense launcher that gives you real protection without carrying a firearm. It looks like a firearm. It kind of feels like a firearm, but it's not. It's non-lethal. So Berna launchers look and feel like a real handgun, but they don't use bullets. Instead, they fire powerful kinetic rounds designed to stop a threat from a distance up to 60 feet without lethal force. Here's why it matters. You don't need a firearms license. You don't need a background check. There's no waiting period. There's no permanent life-altering consequences if you're forced into the situation where you have to defend yourself. And let me just tell you, folks, it's all too real. It's all too normal in Canada. We see stories all the time in the news of home invasions and criminal gangs, and it's scary. And many times it's too close for comfort. Again, that's why I bought one myself. These things are designed to stop. They're not designed to kill. They are a less lethal option made specifically for Canada. So this product is legal in all 10 provinces and it ships for free. Go to the description in the link below or visit junomarketplace.com/Berna. That's JUNO marketplace.com/BYRNA. Guys, buy one for your wife. You'll thank me later. She'll thank you later. It's a really important tool to have in your house, especially for me. Look, my husband travels a lot for work. I have 4 little kids, and this thing, having it in my house gives me peace of mind. So use the link in the description or visit junomarketplace.com/Berna for special offers. Make sure that you're prepared. It's better to be safe than sorry. All right, folks. And to help me break this down a little further, I'm very pleased to be joined by a guest, a face that will be very familiar to the audience. I'm talking about Harrison Faulkner. He is an independent journalist, formerly with True North. Harrison, welcome to the Candice Malcolm Show.
Great to be here, Candice. It's been a while, but I'm happy to chat with you.
Yeah, man, great to see your face. We've missed you around here. So first of all, Ben Bankas. I mean, yeah, he's sort of like an edgy comedian or whatever. He's pretty funny, and he obviously has a huge audience. So the fact that the media is like, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like their hatred for freedom of speech and for like just comedy to make fun of the woke thing that they hold so dearly, they can't handle it. And so they put this pressure and they run these campaigns and they pretend Canadians are really against this kind of thing, that woman with the weird neck tattoo speaks for people of Kelowna or speaks for all Canadians. It's just sick to me. What do you make of it?
Well, I think the problem that Ben Bankas faces right now is that he is becoming far too popular to be controlled and to be, dictated to by the media and by activists. He sells out shows in the United States and he has a loyal following across Canada. He's showing up on podcasts all over the English-speaking world because there is a desire to hear this kind of comedy, a release from what we are being fed by the media and by politicians day in and day out. He's able to kind of strike into that discourse that we all quietly think, the way we talk, behind the closed doors and around the dinner table. He's able to bring that out. And so the problem he's now facing, it's one that he's familiar with. I've been following him for a while now. I've been to one of his shows in Toronto. The problem is now that he is becoming very popular, and this is just going to keep actually increasing his popularity. Candice, I think it speaks to the fact that we all know these activists and some of these media, these journalists, we know they're really offside with the culture. But this is more evidence of that because all they're doing is making him more famous. This is just free advertising.
100%, Harrison. I feel like the culture shifted, right? A couple of years ago, they could have said, oh, he's racist, don't go to a show. And people might have been like, oh, I don't want to be associated with him. But the culture has shifted. People are tired of this. I had Melanie Bennett on the show yesterday, and we talked about this. It's almost like the Streisand effect, right? You're probably too young to understand the reference. But the idea was that Barbara Streisand didn't want that photo of her house in some book. And so she ended up suing the person, and it became like way, way more famous than the book would have ever been otherwise. We had this conversation yesterday about this trans person who's running for mayor of Hamilton. He threatened to sue us because we refused to use he, him, because we used he, him pronouns instead of she, her pronouns, even though it's a man. And it caused the situation to blow up, right? It's like, I think that journalists and people in the left are starting to realize that the culture in the country is not really with them on this stuff. Like, we actually like free speech. Sometimes we like offensive humor. We don't want to call men women. We don't want to be forced and compelled to use your ridiculous pronouns when you're clearly not that thing. And it feels to me like we have a lot of momentum on our side, and that it might be a surprise, because the media has been doing this for, let's admit it, years and years and years, where they just run a hit piece. They use the same kind of style. It's like the anatomy of a hit piece, and they have success. We saw it last summer with the way that Sean Feucht, do you remember him, Christian singer who was doing a tour, and a couple of government employees got upset over in Nova Scotia, and they managed to get one of his tours canceled. And then they had this whole campaign across the country where they would just find local people to get upset and complain. And they tried to drum it into this big national controversy. Sean Feucht, a Christian singer, right, and a praise leader, and he happens to support President Donald Trump, as half the country does in the United States. So, they create these fake news narratives, and I just think they're losing. What do you think?
Well, they're creating martyrs in a way, right? This is what they're doing. And I think, again, it speaks to the fact that it's pretty obvious. You and I can see it, Candice. Thousands of people can see it, that when the media creates these hit pieces, they're losing their power. Yes, they still have some influence, but it's losing its weight. And what happens is you are seen as someone taking slings and arrows. If you're on the receiving end of these hit pieces, you're seen as someone standing in the way of the attacks that are going to the audience. And so that makes these characters, whether it's Ben Bankas, whether it's Sean Feucht, the singer, whether it is Don Cherry, for example, that is what is making people stand. That's raising their profile. It's making them seem like they are the ones standing up, taking the shots from the media, and it makes them more famous. It's almost now seen as, if you're sort of in this right-wing space, it's almost now seen as a rite of passage. If you're not being attacked by the left-wing media in Canada, are you really pushing the right buttons? Are you really striking the right tone for the current moment? Bankas clearly is. And I think people are starting to see it as almost as a sign of approval.
It's so true. I used to almost fear a press progress hit piece against us because I'd be worried about what they would say. And now it's like so irrelevant when they do it, first of all. But yeah, it's like a badge of honor, I guess. Okay, Harris, so let's get to the big news. Everyone's dying to hear it. If you get our emails, you've seen, obviously, we've been working and trying to get Harrison Faulkner back on our airways. And we have some exciting news to announce. So over to you, Harrison.
That's right. The ratioed that all of you enjoyed so much, the Harrison Faulkner Show, the podcast, and the opportunity that I had to connect with all of you, we are bringing it back. So it's starting this week, starting on Monday. I am bringing a show back to Juno News. I couldn't be more excited. It's going to be great to kind of rekindle that fire and that passion that we were able to get together with the audience and to drive conversations forward. We made some big progress on some big issues, I think. Immigration and issues like that. I think now is the time to bring it back and bring back that energy. So I'm very excited, and you're going to see a lot more starting this Monday.
Well, we're very excited. And Harrison, I'll just recount the story because not everyone knows. You started out the very first time we were connected was you were a guest on Juno News. I think it was on Andrew Lawton's show. And you were a student at the University of, or Ryerson University, as it was called then, before they changed the name. And you were part of a conservative club fighting against the woke mob trying to cancel your school's namesake, Egerton Ryerson. And basically, we liked you so much after the interview, we brought you on as a student intern. And the rest is sort of history. You started working on my show as a producer, and then I went away on maternity leave at some point, and we sort of gave you the show, and you ran away with it. And all of a sudden, you were the most popular commentator in Canada, not just on True North and our airways, but like the whole country. Everyone knew you. I went to an event with you in Toronto, and there was like a mob of people trying to meet you. It was amazing. So you sort of became a huge influential independent journalist. You've gone on to, do your own thing, make documentaries, interview some of the biggest politicians. You recently hosted a debate with Jason Kenney and Bruce Pardy on the future of Alberta and Alberta separatism. It was a great interview, a great debate that you moderated there. And so it's been awesome to see you go from, I think maybe like you were like a teenager when you first started doing this stuff, and now you're grown into a prominent voice on your own. So very excited to bring you back. Any more comments on that?
Well, I just have to say that you guys gave me a chance. I say, in a joking way, that you were crazy enough to let me on camera in the first place. and I never look back, and I have to appreciate that opportunity. So it feels sort of like a great full circle moment to see how Juno has grown into its new brand and its new positioning in Canadian media, which is so crucial. So I'm just very excited and ready to get this new chapter going.
Great. Well, I know the audience has really missed you. We've heard from a lot of people saying, where's Harrison? Bring Harrison back. Well, we listened, and Harrison's going to be doing a weekly show for us and hopefully a lot more. Harrison, really looking forward to launching the show next week. We'll keep an eye out for that. And folks, head on over to Juno News. Sign up for our emails because then you'll never miss any of these kind of videos or announcements. JunoNews.com, you can sign up for the newsletter for free, or if you want to support the work that we do around here, consider becoming a premium subscriber. It's $10 a month, and you get access to all kinds of sort of exciting announcements, behind the scenes things, early access to big interviews, documentaries, and everything else. And it's just important to support independent media in this country. There are very few voices left that are not subsidized by the government. There are very few outlets that haven't caved into pressure to, push the woke party line or to start taking the Mark Carney bailout fund. I mean, the money's dangling in front of us. We refuse to take it because we don't think journalists should be paid for by the government. And I know Harrison is a true independent journalist and a fighter. So really looking forward to having you back, man.
Thank you. Couldn't be more excited.
All right, folks, this is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Looking forward to that big show release next week. Have a great weekend. We'll be back again soon. I'm Candice Malcolm. This is Candice Malcolm Show. Thank you and God bless.